Good evening. My name is Emeka Mba. It's been a while that I've been on this set. I took a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm back, and Libation is back on your screens. And I want to assure you that going forward, we will remain committed to providing you with fresh episodes every week going forward. And I apologize to our dedicated viewers and fans of this show that I'll make it a point of duty to improve. I've seen some of the feedback. Some of you, I think, what episode was it that we had Laji on, Sarikin Hausawa here? I heard some of the things that were said. Bikun, take it easy. I'm also on a path of discovery for myself, and sometimes using my own guests just to find out a little bit more of what it means to be Igbo in Nigeria, little aspects of our culture. And so forgive me if I'm not always up to par in terms of your expectations. But the goal is to always improve, and that's what we seek to do. Well, in this episode, I have a very special guest, someone who, trust me, you're going to enjoy the conversations we're going to have today. She's a very special person, someone who has rediscovered herself and helps, other people to discover themselves as well through some of the work that she's done. She's someone who is a creative in the true sense of the word, but someone whose creation through furniture, through art, through fashion even, she's a very fashionable person. Someone who has gone through some pretty difficult times in her life, but is wasking very strong these days, and is a very beautiful woman, and it's a privilege to have her on the show today. But we'll be back shortly. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll have the pleasure of introducing you to this wonderful woman. See you after this break. Welcome back to this special episode of Libation. Libation, as you know, is a special TV show that we started here at Afia TV. I took the liberty to use this show to sort of find my way back to my culture, to the Igbo culture, and also to get viewers who, to work the path with me to sort of rediscover their culture, know a little bit about what it means to be Igbo, especially in this rather troubling, challenging times. And if we do anything significant, it is about finding our way back to our culture. Because I think culture is really the engine, the vehicle to finding yourself, to connecting with not just the past, the present, but also the future. Today's episode of Libation, I have someone who is deeply special to me and to the whole Afia brand. Because if you know anything about Afia TV, the set, the furniture, and everything you see here has a connection with this beautiful woman. Lovelyn O'Brien, welcome to Libation. And as we say on Libation, because the show says Libation, we have a tradition. We have to call Libation to welcome not only the guests, but also to make sure that the people who have come before us, that they share in this moment. So, no. As usual, we do have some kola nuts. Manasana, so you pardon. That's the tradition that we inherited, and we'll discuss a little bit about what you find about that. What's the significance? As a woman, do you feel uncomfortable when that happens?
But of course.
You do?
A homie.
Exactly.
You won't give me kola nut because of culture.
That's what I find. But often you find that you find women who are chiefs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Isn't that a contradiction when it's in a wine who try to rule a chief? So what is it that I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all. You know, and it only right? So you open the general titles. You're like for a woman, you need to Tulu, you need to have that title to be able to participate in some certain aspect of a culture, right? So as a woman,
why you Tulu or okay?
Why Tulu okay?
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. So for now, it's Tulu Beroman. That is why I'll pass on this.
Well, thank you. So, but for the benefit of our viewers, Gagoji, that's knowing what logic with the So, I Gagoji. We see the buying Chukoku Chukwabia, Chico, Pano line, in a line, Epole, Ka, if I line, or the line, that's not. Why no? Kuna waroji. Where can it? Tak, yeah, the come
Nico, oh wow. I'm tough.
So, no one can put number takwa. I hope now. Any nine a member can tako organiru the line. You see. I'm up higher.
Down.
Yeah, one. So,
okay.
So, we'll be back in a jiffy. And then I'll continue the conversation with this wonderful woman who has, if you look at, she has been through a lot. I know this because I've interacted with her in so many ways in the past. But she's someone who has overcome, a torrent of adversity to become someone who even vice presidents of countries know and they say, yeah, well done. So we'll be back in a second. Let's chew on this privately, man. You can't be chewing this thing, You get my point. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back from a very short break. But we had to do what we had to do. We can't allow ourselves to be seen, especially for me as the chief. Come and be eating. If you catch me by accident, this is about the deliberately chewing with all the. Lovelyn, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let me start by asking you. You did. You have this organic. I got it from your store.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked in the past about your love affair with Ogene music, with the sound, Ogene sound. What does it do to you when you hear the Ogene? What does it do?
Ogene is like how will I even put it? It's like a clarion call, so to speak, and it's like as if Ogene left some kind of deposits in Igbo spirit. I don't know if you understand me. So once you hear the sound, there's something that pulls you because it's innate. Yeah. So growing up, I didn't know anything about Ogene. I was shielded. There was no... In fact, Ogene was regarded as diabolical or demonic or something, so to speak.
Like Igbo, traditional Igbo
culture, Igbo culture and masquerades and Ogene and all that. So it was something I didn't know. But imagine hearing it for the very first time and there was a pull for something I didn't even have an idea of what it was. Wasn't like as if I was exposed to it or anything like that. But there was a magnetic pull. I mean, the sound of the gong was like a clarion call. That's just the way I'll put it.
Because some people have. When I mean some people, I'm trying to. I'm actually saying for myself how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Ogene itself sounds to me like. It's in the blood.
Yes.
the average.
It's
Igbo
part of
person.
our DNA.
Yes.
It's
that's
part
how
of
I
our
see it.
building block.
It's like it fires you up.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
part of our building block. Yeah.
You can't be melancholic
Mm-hmm.
when you hear.
No, you can't. Not possible.
You know, it's not. It's
no, it's not.
It's like a chant. It's like a
exactly.
It's both like a,
it's a call.
You've got it right.
It's a call. Yeah. It's
And
a
that's.
call.
I find, and this leads me to my next question. And this question is about growing up.
Okay.
You had mentioned to me off camera that growing up you were shielded.
Yeah,
you
I
were very
was.
protected.
Yeah.
Protestant
Yeah.
home where
Right.
there was a disconnect from culture.
Culture. Yeah. That was.
And now,
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean? How are you trying to navigate your background from that, and how you can, because now you know Woodsworth, which is a company, a furniture company you set up, you founded.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it across the country for I won't want to say Igbo-centric,
Yeah.
but Afrocentric.
Afrocentric.
Furniture.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I mean, this
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
Ichie I got from you, the Ogene, the work.
No, Iche. This is also.
Also,
Yes,
not
not Iche.
and the
Ogene.
things, I mean, just looking around the whole of Afia TV, it's the throw pillows, the stuff. I mean, like a lot of the stuff that we have here, and all of them are Afrocentric themed, and which, when you look back, when you look
You
at
wonder.
your growing up, and you're almost like your connection now to Afrocentrism and your desire to want to create products that sort of speak to African culture and Igbo.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
I would say that even if you were to take a monkey to America, it's still a monkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, despite the fact that I was shielded from culture growing up, that didn't remove the fact that I was Igbo. That didn't remove the fact that once I knew what culture was, it resonated, right? And coming from a background of seeing culture as demonic, diabolical, or juju, or whatever, and then to end up producing this stuff is like powerful wonder. How do you balance, being born again, being, a pastor's daughter, so to speak, with culture, and, that's sort of a thing. I would say that I am Igbo. I am African. I am Igbo, first of all, long before I became a Christian, long before I became born again. So what it means is that there's a part of me, I mean, like, is embedded, is my DNA, that I am Igbo. And things that resonate with Igbo should also resonate with me. And then there's also a way I've been able to navigate. I've removed the religious aspect of culture, right? And embraced the way of life. And embraced, like, looking at this, also, for example, my father, my great-grandfather was an Ozo. He took a title down to his, I think, 5th or 6th generation. But I have an uncle that refers to me to date as Ozo Adiuchi. So whilst we were carving this, it was a reminder of my great-grandfather.
Yeah.
So I didn't just see it as, culture or something to worship or like is an idol or anything like that. This is a representation of my great-grandfather. And then I also do not believe that my ancestors are in hell. Hell no. It's just not
like that,
possible. No, hell no, it's not. I mean, like how we have people who claim are Christians and are bad. That was how we had people who were traditionalists who were also bad. And then another thing is this. People were guided by their conscience. And I think your conscience, that little voice, is God in you, right? Whether you're Christian, you're a traditionalist or whatever, right? And then some of our ancestors heard the voice of God. They did the right thing. And then you can't tell me, because they did whatever, they are heading to hell.
You touched on a point which I've often debated with several guests on this show, that the dichotomy and then, of course, the seeming conflict of how do they navigate this world, being African, and also being influenced, growing up, being fed by Western aspects of religion, but also the Western education and influences and all those things, and how they sort of, deal with this sort of contemporaneous existence and, living in two worlds, as it were. Yeah. But the question, I like your take on this. I would like to hear your point on this, because I'm glad you started off this conversation in that light. Do you think that, as an Igbo person, that there is a conflict in terms of how you navigate these two worlds, or even if there's a conflict, that you have a system of separating these two things? Because you sort of touched on it a little bit, like our ancestors are now living in hell, and they obviously had God even before. The notion of God.
Of course, I mean, from the inception of man has ever been looking for God.
Yeah.
Because when we came, since we're made in His image, we all know that there's a place we came from, and we're all finding our way. We're also trying to find meaning to life.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And somehow religion has provided that, has given that meaning, to life, to your purpose, to why we're here, and then to God, right? But that is separate, as long as I'm concerned, from our tradition. That is separate.
Yeah.
Religion, but the thing is that we always mix religion and tradition and culture.
So Western people, or the colonial people that gave us religion, came with their tradition.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think so. Really thought
let me touch on something that I saw recently.
Okay.
So a couple of days ago, we saw a procession. The late Pope, Pope Francis.
It looked like
they had hoods on.
A book out of what's this guy?
Of KOK's movies. He looked like something from.
That was everybody.
I saw people were commenting on TikTok and everything, like where they have all these black hoods with or four sticks with lighted and making this slow procession. It looked like something from old Nollywood, KOK and all.
Exactly, that's what it looked like.
And people were like, what the heck is going on here? And then if we were to do that today, if KOK were to do that, it was demons, he's summoning demons. But they're doing it. We saw when the Queen died, they brought a piece of rock for like hundreds or even thousands, and the people were kneeling on that rock, and it's part of their tradition. But here we are, burning down, cutting off in villages and towns, people's personal obu and personal shrines, isn't there? And that's the point. I mean, I'm just looking at the conflicts and the contradictions in those things. Whilst we say these are their traditions, they've got their religion, they mix it with their tradition, and the same thing in even in Islam, where you have the Arab tradition that are infused into religion is separate from tradition. But it feels to me that religion comes with traditions and cultures of the people. If we were to export Igbo cosmology,
of course, Ogeso.
Nzu
will be part of it. So, but at the same time, right, where I'm coming from is this. My faith is very important to me.
What is your faith?
Christian, right, is very important to me, right? Believing in Christ and then, Christ's ways and stuff is very important to me. And then at the same time, identifying who I am. And I can't know who I am if I do not identify with my culture. I don't know if you understand me, because I didn't fall from the sky.
So you're able to separate.
But it's not religion.
So you're separating. You
I'm
have. That's what.
for me, there's a clear
There's no clear.
for me, there's a clear separation of religion
What,
and culture.
we'll come back to this in a second. It's very. I mean, and this is why I love talking. This is why I love talking to you, and this is why I thought we should share our private conversations.
Yeah.
At least aspects of it. We'll be back in a second because Madam Lovelyn has taken us down a path that I'm going to come back to her and interrogate this a bit further. We'll be back in a jiffy. Welcome back. Sorry you caught me chewing some cola nuts. But it is what it is, as I say.
It is what it is.
It is
what it is.
Welcome back to Libation. I still have Lovelyn. She's still my guest prisoner for the next 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we've done so you're still my prisoner.
So, yeah.
You're not going anywhere. We before the break we were talking about some of what I perceive to be a conflict, but you're between tradition, Igbo tradition, culture, and religion, and at least Western religion, Christianity.
Yeah.
And you were saying there's no conflict, you're able to separate.
No. Yeah, there's no conflict. You know why I said there's no conflict here? How will I? Religion is different. Like in Igbo cosmetology, right? You have the chi. Okay. Now the chi in born again, like being Pentecostal, we believe in we have guardian angels.
Yeah.
We also have the Holy Spirit. Chi could just either be. So where's the conflict there? You know that there's a being, right? You know that you're guided. You know that you're supposed to be led. You know you're supposed to take inspired actions. You know you're meant to hear. I don't know if you understand me. You're meant to tap into. And then sometimes even when you speak, you say, I am not myself today, but you're standing and you're whatever. So that means there's another personality somewhere. So it's not something that should be strange that there's I don't know if you're a soul, you're a spirit.
I get what you're saying. So it's almost like Western religion mimics.
So whoever that mimics whatever.
But it's an interesting line of thought because I know a lot of people, my brothers on TikTok who seem to, or who espouse this theory that even Christianity that we know today was stolen from African Osiris.
For me, I don't know who stole from who. But there's a fact here. There's one thing that I talk from experience. Yeah. So it's from not just from my own experience, right? Then I might be wrong. I'm not saying I'm totally right. But I found a mechanism that works for me. Yeah. And it's perfect for me. Do you understand? Then if you're looking for conflict, you will find it. Believe me, it's short. You know what we do? We have the ability to label situations. I'll make reference to Christ in the Bible, right? The girl that died. I said, no, she sleeps. I don't know if you understand me. So, but because if you had that whole no, it might have been something very big. I don't know if you get. So you can label that there's controversy. And when you look for it, you will see. Yeah. If you see there's a blend, when you look for it, you see the blend. I don't know if you understand.
So
it's about your perception,
it's about your perception of your own reality.
Yeah, your own reality.
And but often that reality, perception is
a reality, really.
Reality.
So there are some people
how that reality can be also contrived, isn't it?
No, yeah, it can. But you know, if
which is important because if you didn't have the upbringing that you had as a daughter of a pastor, would your reality be different now?
Yes.
If you were born from if you were brought up from your great grandfather who was an Ichie and also and he was very traditional.
Okay. I think that maybe yes or no. You know why I said no? Because of the kind of mind I have, right? The kind of mind that I have was not something that was shaped by religion or anything like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I have a mind. I have a mind that is curious.
Okay.
I have a mind that is open to learning. I have a mind that seeks knowledge, right from when I was small, right? So even when we had
So you were
Christian,
in other words, you're a troublesome child.
you could say that
Okay.
because
All right. I just wanted to put it there.
Because I asked a lot of questions. I refused to conform, right? My mind was open to learning, okay? And then I also believe that all I know is not all there is to know. Even up until now, it's not all there is to know. So I have a mind that is open to learning, okay? So I questioned even Christianity growing up. I mean, there were some things in the Bible that just didn't make sense, wasn't adding up. I mean, there was a lot of controversy.
Let's leave that.
No, hold on.
Okay,
but let me tell you how I've been able to answer that, right? And now somebody will say, was the Bible written by man? Was it written by God? The physics textbook you have, was it not man that wrote? The things that he wrote, is it not true? Are you not putting the theories into practice and it's working for you? You learn gravity and kiniko. Is it not man that wrote it and it's working? So what is my business whether it's man or God that wrote? As long as I'm concerned, as long as the things written therein, they make sense.
Oh, good point.
You understand what I'm saying?
Good point.
And then when I put in the theories, it works for me. Whether man or whether God, I don't. In fact, even in Christianity, there are some doctrines I don't even delve in. I don't even, if you say virgin birth, no virgin birth, I don't know. Whatever is fine. But all I know is I believe in Christ. I believe in his works. I believe in who he is. I believe in what he embodies. And I want to be like him. Right? So other doctrines and other dogmas, and it's fine that you have them, that you know them. So in Igbo cosmetology, I believe that I have a chi. I believe that I have a God that I can speak with. I don't need a medium to speak with that God. Right? And it's for me to talk directly with him. It's for me to listen and he leads. And I do my thing. I don't even understand where I'm coming from.
I get what you mean.
So it's all good for me.
I'm not going to go
so
into...
I'm not going to go into why do you do this and why don't you do this and why do you believe in this and that. No, I'm not going to do.
We're not going to go into that.
But you understand where I'm coming from? No. I'm not going to delve into that.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Daughter of a pastor. You got married pretty early.
Yeah, very, very early. At 19.
Was that, how'd that happen?
You want the truth? Okay, off camera. Is the camera on? Off camera. If you want the truth, I wanted to escape. I was like, I got married. Off camera. Okay, but no. See, growing up.
Tell us on camera.
Let me just on camera. Growing up, because I told you the kind of mind I had, right? I was curious as a child, and I didn't want to conform because I had questions. It's just some things just didn't make sense, right? And then sometime I found the home environment quite stifling because I mean you could do some things, others cannot. Or no. The whatever is others can. But you can't.
Cannot because
why can't you do? Because you're like, no. And then so I found it so cramping and I don't know if you understand.
So for you, marriage
was just a way to get out of home and then get my freedom, so to speak. But when I went into hold on, let me finish.
It's funny now you say this because people now think that marriage is in today's world. I think people watching now be like, she wanted to escape home to get freedom. And I went and got married. How can marriage be?
Because what it meant to me was that I was now an adult that could take decisions for myself. Now, one of the first things I did, very interesting, was growing up, I didn't have I didn't pierce my ears for earrings and stuff, I didn't wear earrings growing up. That was how strict it was. So the first thing I did when I got married was go get earrings. I mean, that was a way of like, okay, I've arrived and I can take decisions. And then looking back, the things I wanted to do really weren't like so outlandish. I don't know if you understand me, but it felt as if. And then another thing that happened to me was I got exposed to books very early. I think as early as 3 years or so, I started reading, right? So I got a lot of ideas from the book and I wanted to try a lot of things and, things that were harmless, so to speak, but because of who I was or because of the background.
Your background,
you couldn't do that. You couldn't take a drink to even know what alcohol tasted like. You couldn't do that. I don't even, I wanted to know what alcohol was like. What was this like? I couldn't. In fact, I couldn't even listen to Michael Jackson. I didn't know who he was.
You-
Believe me, growing up, yes, it
Why?
was as an adult that I knew Michael Jackson.
Anyhow, it's a you know, we're sort of ending the segment, and I want to ask,
Okay.
because something happened. You got married, but a bit of tragedy happened to you. You lost your safe place, if I might add.
Yeah, I did.
Your husband then was like your safe place.
Yeah.
I knew him. He was a bit older than I, but we had. I used to do then. I used to do some house parties.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
And then he left. He left too early. Left us too early.
Yeah, I did.
How's that been?
You can imagine, trying to escape, to become an adult. And sometimes be careful what you wish for, really.
Yeah.
Be very careful what you wish for. Because I wanted that freedom and all that and stuff. And then when it happened, it was... And then, funnily enough, the place that became my safety net was my home. I went back home. Home was there for me. Home became a refuge for I and the children. The home I was trying to escape from became heaven. That's why I said your perspective. Do you understand? It's your perception, really. The home that I felt was restrictive and stuff became a safe heaven. Became a place where my children and I found refuge. Do you get? Yeah. But it was the same walls, it was the same door, it was the same gates, same everything, right?
Nothing had changed.
Nothing had changed. But the same thing.
But you had a different mindset.
The mindset was not different. Even the Bible that I was running away from, the kingdom I was running, became an anchor, became, my hope. It was what I could, lay hope on, lay my hands on. And I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Surprisingly. So my perception about home changed. So I could say part of the reasons why I thrived, I did well, was because of home, was because of my dad. Yeah.
And I find that even when I go to, I mean, of course we follow each other on social media. You did your closeness and proximity to your father, and I see when you celebrate him and all of that, and your kids, your daughter, for example, who's become artistic like you as well.
Yeah, she is.
We'll come back in a minute. We'll try and sell market because we're trying to sell this show as well so that we can keep the lights on in the studio. But we'll come back. I want to go a bit deeper to have a conversation with you about how you dealt with those challenges.
All right.
Given all that happened in your life, especially as a very young person. And having kids to look after. We'll be back in a second. Please don't miss this. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back with Lovelyn, my friend, my Woodsworth madam. I saved on my phone, Woodsworth. We'll be back in a second. So you guys know why? Every time I go, sometimes I just when we were setting up Afia, I'll tell you guys this story. When I was setting up Afia like 4 years ago, I would just drive to office in the guise of buying furniture. I would just sit with her and we'll talk about everything. And I have found this woman to be, as she said, you are inquisitive.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about inquisitive people is that they lead you also to discover things.
Yes.
Because even in their questioning, you get answers.
Yeah, true.
It's not even, and this is what I'm discovering here. I want to ask you though, so let me just digress a little bit.
Okay.
You have swam through challenges of losing someone as your partner, raising kids. I've not met your daughter.
Sorry?
I've not met your daughter, but I follow online. Your son, I know, great guy, wonderful guy. I mean, and you set up a business in this town that has gone places. I saw you recently I've been gisting with the vice president, Sherry, like your guy. You thought we were just bantering. I mean, the VP is a guy man. You know, you guys were just bantering. I'm like, nobody our VP. This woman just the one chance like that. Wanted to sell him a pillow with that. I said, I will ship it. I'll ship it to you.
He bought everything in that booth.
Are you serious?
Believe me, everything we came to in that exhibition, not one single pin. He said,
serious?
And then he flew back to Abuja with them.
No, but he's always been like that.
Not like as if he bought an Elena.
Yeah.
Then the chair that couldn't enter the plane, we had to wrap it up. They called us back to Government House that night.
Are you
we
serious?
had to go back to, yes, we had to wrap it up for them so they could take it by road.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, but you've also set a standard for, because there's a friend of mine, she works for MultiChoice in Abuja or in Lagos. I don't know where she is now. Her name is Pat.
Okay.
So I invited her, you know, when we're setting up here, because we're on MultiChoice platform, I invited her, they came to do inspection of our facilities, and so she came along. And she's like, oh, okay, Emeka, I need to see this woman, Woodworth. She's, I think she came to your,
yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
And she was like, I'm having furniture, we've used it now. And so you the things you're doing and the angle you've taken about, are you not a preacher, don't you think? You know what I mean? Are you not a preacher? Because how you've taken African culture, Igbo, the stuff you're doing into, you're telling stories with your furniture, with the thing.
Telling us stories, yes.
So that preacher thing's still in your blood now.
Yes, of course. Of course. I can't
there you go. I needed to put it there. I needed her to say.
Of course. You need my blood. Now, tell me, you asked about how I was able to survive and thrive. And I also go back to your perception. How you see things is the way it is. Your perception is actually the way it is.
Your reality, yeah.
So that's just your reality. So when O'Brien died, right, my husband, when he died, I was 28. There I was pretty young. I had 3 small kids. I had an 8-year-old, I had a 7-year-old, I had a 5-year-old child then. And it was like as if it was the end of the world, you know. So I remember clearly, you know, after the burial, there's this thing we do in church, like an outing. You come out and then the church will pray for you, and you know. So we came out. Of course, I had my hair shaved. You know, I was looking very small.
You had your hair shaved?
Yeah. I shaved. Well, we'll go into that. I'll tell you what I did by myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was really looking very, miserable and all that. This was 20 years ago, so you could know that. I mean, and immediately we just stepped out. Everybody in church went, oh. You know that pity? So my father just got up from his chair and said, look at this girl.
Yeah.
Does she look like somebody to be pitied? Why are you all just pray for God to guide her, and then let's everybody, you know, the way this man took, it was like as if, yes, it has happened. So, but this is not the worst thing that will happen to you. Now, I will digress. When during the funeral, I was so devastated. I mean, the devastation was something else. I cried from the eve of the wake till the burial. I couldn't stop crying. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a child. I couldn't. The tears were just like as if they had their own volition, and it just couldn't stop. So they tried everything. Oh, let's give you this. Let's give you until my father came. So my father came. He said, "Ne." I was still crying. He now looked up in the ceiling. Now in our ceiling, we had this intricately carved wooden ceiling up there going on, you know. He now looked up. And no, he now said, Ebezina. I said, He now said, oh. I said, yeah. He now looked up. I said, Manu now, I'm rap.
Like, no way he said that. He didn't say that.
You see, Makanuna, hey, you don't say Manuna, Makakwani rap. You know, Makakwani rap. The way I laughed, upon me that cried for like 24 hours. That was what, sealed the whole thing for me. I just got strength, right? And then the way, his perception of what happened, you have to pick up. So go out there.
Yeah.
In fact, then what my dad used to say is that I see you on the pages of newspaper. I do this and I do that. You're gonna do great things. In fact, he would liken me to Cecilia Ibru, to this other person, to do that. I mean, the man talked life into me. So that thing taught me that for you to survive whatever setback you have is a function of the people you're surrounded with.
I agree, 100%.
If you don't have good support, if everybody around is all seeing even what's happening in the economy now, for all the people you're surrounded,
I've seen only the negative part.
Hey, if I were that we're not, this is how your reality will be like. So the way the man was able to, like, it's nothing. Yeah, it's something sort of tragic, but it's something you can take in your. Do you know that for years, I operated without the consciousness that I was a widow. Honestly, for years, like, if you say widow, it takes me like 2-3 seconds to realize, oh, is it me? Oh, really? Oh, yes, true. Yeah, I'm a widow for real. I don't know if you understand me. I didn't walk through life without consciousness at all. Or just something had happened. I just took it up in myself. I think it's one of the tools that I used to survive that, tragic, that tragedy.
And now you've become Madam Woodsworth.
Yes.
The builder of not just a vision of what you build visions.
Yes.
You build the vision. You had the vision of a huge. I mean, I was reading one of your interviews in some other publication media, talk about how you were sitting somewhere and people were the idea of furniture, and you thought, how do I infuse African thing into it? And you've done that.
Yeah.
Because I see your some of your products, especially your throw pillows, are all over the world, in Brazil, in America, and in Europe, and sitting in the office of the vice president, in the home and office of the vice president. I have to ask though, as we round up this conversation, I mean, I'm going to try and get you back, given your own availability. For us to talk a bit more about religion.
All right.
But I have to ask you this, as we try and round up this episode. You've been the feature, you've been in this town, Enugu. How do you view life? How has life changed for you as an Igbo person in today's Nigeria? And how do you see yourself navigate this life?
There's this kind of would I call it mentality? Yeah, I'll say it's a mentality about businesses in Enugu, about doing business in Enugu, about how backward or something like it is and all that. When I started Woodsworth, the idea I had was to set up Woodsworth in Abuja. I never wanted to stay in Enugu. The sense being that Enugu is it landlocked, is it airlocked, or whatever, sea locked, whatever it is. And then, the purchasing power of people in Enugu and all that and all that. I mean, everything was like as if it was rigged for you to feel because of, the kind of people and all that in Enugu. So there was a conference I attended in Ghana. So, and that thing, the impact of that conference 15 years ago is what I ran with till now. So what the guy said was that if you have a product that is innovative, that is bespoke, that people will look for, even if you were in the hindrance part of the world.
Well, I looked for you.
You did.
Yeah.
That people will find their way to you. So when I set up when Enugu there was disadvantage, I made it in such a way that it has to be by appointment only. I need to know you're coming before even coming to my space. Now, what did I do? I went back to give the world products and things that they hadn't seen before. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because I knew I had to have something that the world would look for. And I also knew that as I was setting up the products and stuff, I would not have Enugu as the consumers. I have to have the mind that this has to play on the global stage, despite the fact that we're in Enugu, but we have to. So my physical presence, I do not need to be in Lagos or in Abuja or even in New York or in UK for it to have that global
Especially
impact.
now in the age of the internet.
Exactly. And all that. I did not need to do that. Then I didn't even know how I was going to do it, but it was a concept that I have in my head that I could produce in Enugu and sell all over
But
the
how
world.
has that worked out now?
Now, how it has worked out is with social media. Social media has really, really helped. And let me also tell you something, word of mouth.
Yeah.
We have ambassadors, people I call ambassadors, that is really mind-blowing.
Which is true, because I got to know about you not in Enugu. And I think I told you
not
that.
in Enugu.
I think I was in Abuja or something. I was saying to a friend, "Oh, I'm coming to Enugu to set up this. Oh no, if you're looking for furniture, go to this lady. She shared your
my page,
and that's all right.
The surprising thing. Well, it's not surprising, because when I started, this was I had in mind. 90% of our clients come out outside of Enugu. We really do not sell. Yes.
But why is it that Enugu people? Is it a question of prophet is not known to not?
That's one thing. Prophet is not known, and then this is not a diss to Enugu people, though. Please, it's not a diss.
This is how I'm looking at you now. Say it now.
But it's not a diss.
Say it.
It is not.
It is.
But generally, Enugu people, they want cow for the price of chicken. So, like a lot of people, they have champagne taste, but they have
money.
bobo. No,
Zobo,
bobo. No, bobo.
Not even Zobo. Bobo. Which one is Bobo?
Bobo, another one. In fact, not even Caprisa. But the budget is Bobo budget. But they have champagne taste. Please, it's not a
maybe we should go on a break at this point. But we can't. We're ending the show. Lovely. No, we're in the same business. Maybe we're here.
Not champagne taste on a Bobo budget.
Somebody, true. Somebody will come here and say, "I want 1 hour. We want this live coverage." We're 500,000. Is it to fuel our OB van from here to Nsukka? It's like just from here to Nsukka is like 100 and something K. Fuel, diesel. Then set up, then airtime, then capacity.
Believe
they say no. So
believe you, sorry, but that's
but that also tells me that we need to grow the economy.
Yeah, we need to.
So we grow. Because Enugu has always been I love this town.
Oh yeah.
I love this
no
town.
Place like Enugu, no.
It's so peaceful, it's calm.
There's no place like
it's
Enugu.
Brilliant. I mean, I'm not dissing about people. I love you people. Onitsha.
There's no place like Enugu. There's no place like Enugu.
Even you people will agree that even Enugu, there's calm.
No. See, there's something. In fact, it is not. It's not a mistake it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Enugu has been the capital of Igbo land for a very long time, right? So there's just something about the town.
Yeah.
There's just can even call it spiritual, the energy.
Yeah.
I like using the word energy.
You drive here, you feel.
Hi, there's just this, and
calming.
then you need to see if I'm experiencing Enugu in the morning. Hi, you need to. In fact, if you want to hear God, just come out in the morning. See that quiet, and just sit and tune in. Jeez. So I can't imagine, like even when I'm thinking of expanding, we're opening a store in Abuja, end of this month or thereabouts, right?
Would you invite us to come and join?
Well, definitely you guys will come.
Okay.
So, but we're expanding. We're looking at
No,
expanding.
I really love that. I love to see exports from Enugu.
Yeah.
Not just people setting up in Lagos, New York, coming to Enugu, but I like to hear stories of us.
But let me also tell you, but it must come from Enugu.
Yes.
I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, I get
because
it.
you know why? That's why I get my creative juices. I can't even think. Can barely operate any whatever, right? So Enugu is like, that is the source. So even if we eventually end up having the store in New York, in wherever it is, it must be produced on this land. Because there's just this connection to the land. There's just this energy on this land, this red soil. There's just this energy, there's this richness in this. There's just this energy on this soil that no other place on earth has. For me, I don't know if anyone
Enugu, say you've heard it.
Yeah.
Well, this episode, it took me. It's taking me. It's taking me everywhere. It's taking me the role of woman in Igbo culture. It's taking me to religion, to culture, to being a parent, to being a mother, to losing someone, to the value of life, surviving, to to the Valley of Enugu. This is taking me everywhere, and I hope it's taking you there as well as you're watching this special episode with Lovelyn O'Brien, I told you guys at the beginning. I told you. Did I not tell you? I said, this woman, this is it. She's magic. She's got life. You know the thing about women? I'm one of those people that believe God is a woman. That's a different conversation. We'll have that in a different episode.
That's why you have mother.
Yes, I'm team.
Mother tongue.
Yeah, motherhood.
Because he actually takes care of you. He nurtures. Nature nurtures. And that's the
nature
role of
is,
a woman.
Nature is mother. Nature is
Mother nature.
Thank you guys. Lovelyn. Dalu.
Thank you for having me.
You've been excellent.
I
can't wait to have you back because I know our viewers are going to want you back.
Thank you.
It's been an excellent, for me personally, it's been a journey of learning, of just getting fed by this wonderful woman. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Please stay tuned. Just on the bottom, you see Libation, you see our social media links. Please follow us. You also see her store. We're going to put her store links for Woodsworth Interiors. You're going to just follow her and check out all the beautiful stuff she has in her store. This is not a paid advert. This is from me telling you, if you come to Afia, pretty much 90% of the furniture you're going to find has come from her space. So, so connect with us. See you guys on the next episode of Libation. Thank you all for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Thank you. My name, as always, Emeka Mba. Thank you.